Hello, my dear learners. My name is Kashyapa. Welcome to another session of LinkedIn plus English. And today we are going to talk about a very, very important topic for EdTech founders, especially if you're an EdTech founder or if you know someone who is working for an EdTech company, share this video with them. And this is not exactly about English grammar or English language. I just want you to listen to my language and find out whichever is useful for you. But there is a huge shift in Indian market if you are not able to notice it in Indian edtech market. Earlier, the internet was accessible mainly to the cities and mainly to the people who were affluent, and so the customer base or the leads were mainly from the affluent families. The rest of the students had aspirational aspirational dreams or aspirational goals. So an entire generation, not just entire generation, ever since 1985, yeah, ever since 1985 or 1989, every generation of students was preparing for engineering entrance exams and medical entrance exams as if there is no other career in the entire world. That is why we have so many software engineers and so many doctors, Indian origin doctors are working abroad, right? So this aspirational goaling, aspirational learning is reducing and depleting a lot in the cities. But if you look at the numbers of edtech sales, or if you look at the numbers of penetration percentage of edtech into tier 2, tier 3, you can see that it is actually increasing. So for a CEO of an edtech who is looking at the numbers, he will only see that the numbers are increasing, the sales are increasing, but in which segment is it exactly decreasing, right? In which segment are they exactly getting returns a lot? So the tier one segment has disillusioned itself from this aspirational thinking, and they're coming back to the ground. And now they have done their BTechs in very modest colleges, and they have done their masters in modest colleges, and they started after the education, after the entire education they have realized that okay, I don't know anything about the workspace, I don't know anything about the professional space. Because let me tell you something, in India, if you're not studying from tier 1, tier 2 colleges, you're done. You will not learn anything. Since schooling too, if your child is happy to go to school, then that is a good school. How many parents can honestly say that their child is happy to go to school, right? And those schools to which a child can happily go to charge more than 1 lakh per month, right? So they're very expensive, and they are mainly available to the affluent. So if you have studied in state boards and small schools, and then if you have worked really really hard in IIT coaching or medical coaching, and you could not achieve that dream because it is harder to get into IITs than into Harvard. And it is unrealistic. It is quite unrealistic. If your intelligence and if your starting line is very bad, if you are not that privileged, if you do not have natural high IQ instead of learned intelligence, then you are doomed. You cannot get into IIT. Then then you have no other option but to go into a BTech college, as which would offer a seat for you in your budget range, and they are quite conservative sometimes and they are quite liberal sometimes, but you would mostly end up in a private college or a government college where the standard is not so great, right? Because they're not tier 1, tier 2 colleges, and you come out of that and you do a master's if you want, otherwise you end up in a small job with a starting salary. And then people are realizing, okay, I did not learn any professional skills that are actually useful to me. I have a friend. He has studied in IITs. He has worked really, really hard to get into an IIT, even though he is also from middle class and an not so privileged background. He worked really, really hard to get into IITs, and his BTech was not in an IIT. It was in a Tier 3 or Tier 4 college university, but his master's was in IIT. And the main thing I have observed is ever since he joined in his job, he never stopped learning. He kept learning more and more and more and skills, more skills. Right now, we are talking about AI and machine learning. He was learning all this 5 years ago. So that tells us a lot, right? So he's a hard worker. Hard work does really have good results, but you should also notice that he didn't have any responsibilities of taking care of the household or taking care of kids. He was not married. Yes, he was doing a job, and it was a hybrid job. So he had enough time. He was getting paid really well. He was working for a non-toxic company, which is very rare. So they were also giving him leaves. They paid for his IIT. So it was quite healthy work environment. So he was able to manage to study, and he was continuously upskilling, 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 and getting promoted, getting promoted. And then I realized, okay, so this is how you survive in this modern world. If you're not upskilling after your education, you're done. And that is what people in the cities are doing. So they are coming back from aspirational learning. So they are stopping the aspirational learning because the previous generation has done that, they failed, and now their children are in schools and they're stopping this aspirational learning, and they are targeting towards any course but from a top college. That means it can be arts, it can be cinema, right? In Pune, there is a very top college for cinema. It can be fashion, it can be psychology, it can be philosophy, it can be language, just French. An average French graduate earns more than a software engineer. Do you know that? Just by translating Amazon product descriptions and a lot more. Saba? So, yeah, so French, learning a language, any any field that you study, but if you're studying in a top college, if you're studying in a tier 1, tier 2 college, you are bound to be good in your profession and you are bound to have good knowledge in that subject. But most of the Indians, including me, we did not have that opportunity. So when we don't have that opportunity, what should we focus on? We will focus on upskilling in tech, and a lot of people have already done that. They are really, really good. They have really, really good technical skills. But the one thing that is stopping them is their English and leadership skills. Because when you are continuously in front of the computer and learning tech, because it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of hard work, you don't give that much preference to soft skills until it naturally comes to you. So when you're promoted as a manager, then you need a lot of soft skills, you need a lot of leadership coaching, and you need a lot of one-on-one attention. Otherwise, you'll not be able to understand a lot because just learning grammar and vocabulary is not enough. In my previous video, you might have seen that having great vocabulary doesn't necessarily translate into having great communication skills. So you need these people are looking at real communication skills particular to their situations. For example, a solo there is solo contributor. Yeah, a solo contributor is going to become a manager, so he needs to learn leadership skills and non-verbal skills. And there is a person who has a lot of mother tongue influence and nobody is able to understand what he's saying, but he's able to manage to do his job because everybody else in their office speaks in their mother tongue. And suddenly, if they are going to face an interview for promotion, they have to speak in English. Not just speak in English, they should be able to form a structure in which they are showing their value, right? That is what I teach also. And Suddenly, if they're facing foreigner clients, then they should be able to speak in an accent that is at least comprehensible. It doesn't have to be American accent or UK accent because, to be honest, Indian accent, generic standard Indian accent is very, very clear. The accent that I'm speaking right now, it is the most clear accent in the world because we do not emphasize on certain letters. We we speak clearly, each and every word we speak clearly, and we try to use grammar as good as possible, as well as possible, and we don't use too many complicated Victorian words like Sashi Tarur. Sashi Tarur is an exception, although like Sashi Tarur, we don't use Victorian words from Oxford Dictionary, but we use very simple words which are easy to understand. So Indian accent is very clear, standard Indian accent. If you have another language's influence, if you have MTI, that is mother tongue influence, on your accent, that means Bengalis have a different accent. Village, they say village instead of village. And Hindi speakers have a different accent. Is school instead of school, right? Malayalam speakers have a different accent. Symbol instead of simple. Telugu speakers add oo to everything, right? And Tamil speakers do not pronounce Z sounds properly. Zero, zero, da. Avan zero, da, zero, right? So there are a lot of problems with our regional accent, but when it comes to the standard Indian accent that I'm speaking in right now, it is very, very easy to understand, right? So once you get this standard Indian accent, then you focus on your leadership skills, your soft skills, that means your non-verbal skills, how you're presenting yourself, how to show authority, when to show authority, where to show authority, emotional intelligence. So all these, you see, not just English. Edtech should be focusing on all these things. Only then it is sort of like personality development, personalized personality development. Only then you'll be able to capture a growing market because there is already the government Edtech system which is giving skills coaching, Skill India, etc. They are giving real skills coaching. So it is very necessary that to find a gap in the market, and the gap in the market is this: people do not have people skills. So when you start teaching people skills, it is going to grow well, and this is what is going to happen in the edtech industry in the next 10 years. Slowly, people are going to get disillusioned with the aspirational thinking of IIT and medical, and a lot of students will prefer to study some other courses until unless they're actually passionate about engineering or medical instead of just going in there like sheep. And only then they will do their degrees. They'll try to get into top schools and top colleges. But still, 70 to 80% of India earns less than 5 lakh per annum per family, a family of four people. So you can't expect them to study in a private college. So if they have merit, they can get into a good government college. If they don't have merit, they'll get into a modest government college. And all these people are going to be working and they'll be earning and they'll be looking for genuine help. And if you truly care about your customer, then you will truly help them instead of pushing this course, that course on them, pushing them into EMIs on their already burdened lives. And they're riding Rapidos. The software engineers are riding Rapidos to meet the EMIs. So let's not push them too much, but push the courses that are actually helpful and impactful. And once they're done with the course, there should be significant improvement in their earning capacity because that is the most important aspect in a middle class person's life to go up the ladder, right? So this is the information that I have. These are my views I wanted to express, and I hope this is helpful. And if you have any doubts regarding this, or if you want to start a startup regarding this, just leave a comment or contact me on LinkedIn. You can see my LinkedIn profile here, right? It is Kashyapa Madhuri. So please do connect with me and we can start a startup. I know how to get funds. I just don't have a team right now. And once I get a team, we can start it. Right? All right then. I will see you all in the next class.